It was a night like no other. The fog crawled between the buildings like a lazy cat, and the air smelled of burnt pancakes and something older, forgotten. Deep within the basement district, on the edge of platform 13, stood a wooden figure, round, strange, barefoot. Tung Sakhur. With eyes too big and a bat too old, he stared into the distance. Something was wrong. He could feel it in his wooden veins. The city was whispering again. And when the city whispers, someone is always about to vanish. Time to wake the crew, he muttered. First came Moko the mop, sarcastic, squeaky, always annoyed. You dragged me out at midnight for what? A hunch? I was cleaning the ceiling. Then Zlu the soap slug slithered from the drainpipe, glowing faintly, humming his soap opera theme. If it involves running, I'm out, unless snacks are involved. Tung nodded. No snacks. But danger? Plenty. The forgotten ones were waking up again. And this time, they remembered too much. Moko grumbled as he floated beside Tung, bristles twitching with anxiety. This better not be another sock monster case, Sakhur. Last time I lost 3 strands to static cling. Tung didn't reply. He was already walking. His wooden feet made soft thunk, thunk, thunk sounds on the cobbled street, each step like a heartbeat against the silence. Zlu slithered behind, bubbling nervously. Where are we even going? To the old locker room, Tung said, his voice like creaking floorboards. They found teeth there, human teeth, but no humans. The silence grew louder. The locker room was a place where time sagged and gravity got drunk. Every door creaked open on its own. Every mirror refused to reflect you right. This wasn't a place you entered casually. It was where forgotten champions were erased or reborn. As the trio stepped inside, the doors slammed shut behind them with a bang that sounded like a cough from a giant. The towel-wrapped figure moved closer, limping slightly. Its voice sounded like dry leaves rubbing together. You carry the bat of echoes, the one that remembers. Tung lowered the bat gently. It pulsed with a soft, strange light, not bright, not warm. It felt like memory, like something old trying not to be forgotten. Moko cleared his throat, or tried to. It sounded more like a squeaky door. All right, ancient gym ghost, cut the drama. Who are you and what do you want? The figure paused. Then, slowly, it unraveled the towels from its head. Underneath was a familiar face, one Tung hadn't seen in years. Coach Dimitri? Tung whispered. The once great coach of forgotten fighters, lost in the locker room years ago. Rumors said he'd gone mad. Others claimed he'd merged with the shadows. But now, he looked human again, almost. I called you here, Dimitri said, not to fight, but to choose. Behind him, lockers began to open, slowly, eerily. Inside were memories, scenes playing like old V's tapes, lost fighters, broken promises, forgotten glories. The bat has power, Dimitri continued. But every swing rewrites the past. Are you ready to carry that weight, Tung? Zlu blinked. Wait, we're in a haunted locker room that edits reality with sports gear? Moko muttered, I should have stayed on ceiling duty. Tung stared at the bat. His fingers tightened around the handle. The wood hummed softly, and then, without warning, a crack split the air. Professor Olivier had arrived. He stepped from the shadow, tall, angular, with metal lenses over his eyes and smoke coiling around his shoulders. Ah, the wooden hero, the squeaky mop, and the jelly soap worm. Slug, Zlu corrected, offended. Olivier smirked. He raised one finger. A ripple shook the floor. Give me the bat, Sakhur, or your past, and theirs will rot where it stands. Tung didn't flinch. He simply said, "I remember everything," and swung. But Olivier didn't vanish. He split. The man in the coat cracked like glass. From him stepped a second figure, shorter, rounder, eyes full of fear instead of madness. Tongue froze. Zlu gasped. Even Moko was silent, for once. That's not a villain," Zlu whispered. "That's a child." The second figure looked up, and his voice trembled. "I didn't want to forget. I just didn't want to feel." The broken Olivier, the one they all feared, wasn't the original. He was what remained after grief outgrew the heart that held it. Tung knelt beside the boy. He didn't speak, he listened. Memories began to drift from the air like snow. Fragments, a bicycle with no chain, a photo of a missing brother, a goodbye that was never said. Olivier wasn't a name. It was a wound, given form. Moko turned away, pretending to mop the dust. Zlu looked like he might dissolve in soap bubbles from emotion. "So, now what?" Zlu whispered. Tung stood up slowly. "Now," he said, "we remember for him." But the room began to shake again. The bat inside the display case was glowing once more, but this time flickering like a dying star. A rift was opening behind them, a glitch in reality. The price of remembering too much. The rift wasn't just a tear in space. It was a reflection, a looped scar repeating over and over. From it stepped 3 figures, and every breath in the room went still. They looked like Tung, Moko, Zlu, but different. Their colors were muted, movements stiffer, their eyes empty, like puppets with memories stripped away. "They're us," Moko said, voice hollow. But versions that forgot who they were. The forgotten trio, echoes from another loop. Tung stepped forward. His copy stepped too. Same rhythm, same stance, a perfect mimic, without the soul. Zlu's copy hissed, leaving a slippery trail of regret. Moko's double spun like a broken compass, bristles twitching like nerves. Then the battle began, but it wasn't fists. It was memory versus memory. Tung raised the bat, but this time it didn't glow. It trembled. "We can't fight them," Tung whispered. "We have to remind them." He dropped the bat and opened his arms. The copy stopped, confused. No one had ever embraced a forgotten version of themselves. The forgotten Tung tilted his head. His hand moved, slowly, to touch his chest. And for the first time, his eyes blinked. A crack of color bled into his wooden form. He remembered the first laugh, the first pain. The real him woke up. Across the room, Zlu hugged his slippery copy. "Moko?" He just smacked his with a mop, then whispered, "You are me. Don't forget that." The loop cracked, the copies flickered, then smiled and stepped back into the rift. The portal sealed itself like a book closing shut. The room exhaled, and then a whisper. "You passed the test." A door appeared in the far wall. Carved into it, the archive. Tung turned. "We're not done yet," he said. "The real memory is hidden inside." The door opened without a sound. No hinges, no dust, just memory. Inside was a vast, impossible space, a library without gravity. Books floated, voices echoed from nowhere, hallways twisted into each other like paper folding in on itself. Moko whispered, "This place smells like forgotten birthdays and lost socks." Zlu floated gently, his body glowing in rhythm with the pulsing shelves. "We shouldn't be here." Tung said nothing. He walked forward, every step echoing like a heartbeat through a dream, and then a whisper from the ceiling, accessing record. Tung Tung Sakhur, unknown origin. The walls shifted, the books turned. A spotlight of memory fell on Tung. A screen appeared in midair, made of smoke and sound. A cradle, a spark. hand carving his face from old oak. He wasn't born, he was built. Moko stared, stunned. "You're a relic?" Zlu whimpered. "So you're like a myth with legs?" Tung didn't flinch. "I'm a reminder," he said. And the archive responded. The walls cracked, not breaking, but unfolding. A hidden door opened. Inside, a single book. It glowed blue. Title: The Memory That Was Erased. Tung reached for the book. The moment his fingers touched the cover, the archive screamed. A siren, a flash. The ceiling tore open, revealing an endless void, and from it, something looked down. A giant eye, watching. Access denied. Too late. The book opened. As the pages turned themselves, a voice whispered from the void. Every memory erased can be remembered again. Every shadow lost can find the light. Tung's wooden fingers traced the glowing text. It told of endless cycles. Creation, destruction, forgetting, and remembering. The bat pulsed softly in his hand. Not as a weapon, but as a beacon. "I was made to remember," Tung said softly. "To keep the stories alive, even the painful ones." Behind him, the archive began to close. But the room no longer felt like a prison. It was a sanctuary. We are the keepers of what cannot be lost. And with that, Tung stepped forward into the dawn, ready to face whatever forgotten tales awaited.